back.
Well, it seems like it's been 3 or 4 weeks, but it's really only been two.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a while.
We don't do too badly in terms of keeping up with putting out content each week. So usually when either of us take a week off, we cover it.
Well, and I think it has been kind of traditional, over these kind of 2 weeks of New Year, end of year and New Year, we take off, which usually works out with updates and stuff, not
Yeah.
coming out. So
Yeah, well,
I
like
think
it's
that's
kind
okay.
of been quiet, kind of.
Kinda.
Just in the last week, though, a few things have dropped that are interesting. We'll have some fun talking about that.
Definitely. I can't wait, to get my color changing car, that BMW announced at CES, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Because there's two components of that. First is police officers are going to love it. I'm chasing
really?
a white. Yeah. I mean gray. I mean black. I mean I don't know what color this car is. And the second is when you have an accident in one of those, how much is it going to be to replace those panels?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
More than a Tesla.
And it won't be just a panel beater's job that will be able to do it. You'll have to have specialist knowledge and connect all sorts of stuff. But
they'll probably have to come get your car. Yeah.
It's that digital ink kind of thing that changes stuff. Did they talk about putting words on the car or any kind of
you can have some
branding?
advertising, so that you can pay for the car.
Car tattoos, henna.
Yes.
Oh, look, we're at time. Let's get started.
Roll it.
Just about starting soon. We've started now. It's always one thing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 365 Message Center show, where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed in 2022. A new year, Darrell. New year, new us. The show's going to be great this year. Once. It's going to be...
I think last year we introduced that format of messages, quick mentions, callbacks. We haven't come back with anything super different or inspirational, but
Daniel, the year is young.
The year is young. Well, even while we were planning the show just before, we talked about potentially going back to doing some kind of deep dive. Especially if it's a topic that we feel like we're getting on our soapbox and spending more than 4 minutes and we're getting into 10 minutes on one message and people are like, hey, that could be a whole other podcast, people.
I think, well, there's a couple this week that, we could totally dive into and talk about not just the message, and not just implications, but also the implications of the implications, and, take it a whole lot deeper. So, there's opportunity, and we really want our listeners to, when you see a message during the week that, you'd like to talk about, maybe just for a couple minutes with us, ping us. We'd really like to hear your voice, and your thoughts on things, and maybe be, part of the audio podcast or even part of this, the video podcast as well. So
if I think back on years past or even just this year gone, there's been some pretty passionate opinions about things that have been released and how they've been either misunderstood, but perfect opportunity for that.
Make sure you also like this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and click the thumbs up. Go ahead and make sure you're subscribed and nudge the bell in YouTube with the back of your head. It just kind of go knock it as you get the...
I swear it's like an anatomy class with you every time about how to hit that subscribe.
So make sure you do that, and then share the podcast so people can also stay up to date along with you. Yep. Let's do it, Darrell. Let's jump into this.
Okay. I'm always still trying to work out the order of this so that it's smooth. But now there's a few things I want Restream to do. Oh, are we on the wrong message? We're not on even the first message. Let's get to it.
This Microsoft Stream was the
Yes.
first message.
Yeah, exactly. Add and edit captions and transcripts for videos in SharePoint and OneDrive MC 312492. I actually think this is another good next step for bringing stream functionality into that new stream, not classic stream, bringing classic stream into new. Uh, our recordings have been stored in OneDrive and SharePoint for a good number of months now. We can have captions as part of this, but what we haven't been able to do is correct those captions. So this message, Daniel, it's that ability. If you have editability, the ability to edit, to access a file and edit it, then you will have the opportunity to open up this new panel. Let me just make that a bit bigger, I guess. There we go. Have a look at that. New panel to turn on or off viewing of transcripts, generate the captions, or upload some of those captions. Now that I look at it, Daniel, we were talking about this beforehand. There's no download button. Like, can I download this VTT file, correct it, and then re-upload it?
Yes, I think they're not generated in this screenshot here. So, generate them and then,
That might be
download them. Yep.
Yeah. So the file will have to exist before you can download it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So once it's there, and I'm going to find there'll be, well, what's the scenario that we'll do this for? Probably more important meetings where we do want to town halls or things where we are trying
training,
to make sure things.
Announcements, those kind of things. This is not, I don't see people editing for just regular meetings moving forward.
Like a stand-up that you record. Because
right,
everyone watches those.
Yeah, well, and it's a lot of work. I mean, these files are not going to be simple. Oh, I can just do this. There's a lot of formatting in these files. So, you can get an editor, a special editor, right, Darrell, for these. But
there is that. Yep, there's a few out there, and I mean, I kind of use Camtasia because it has the ability to edit files as well. But that's going to be useful. There were a couple of things on there too that we don't know what they're hinting at. Table of contents. We know what noise suppression is, but table of contents is one that they don't mention at all within the message, but it could be hinting at the time codes. And I don't know, maybe they would be generated for us as a suggestion and we can adjust them too. But yeah, back to this message. If you have edit permissions, you can turn this on or off, download, upload, adjust, generate. And if you just have view permissions, then you're going to see them like this. You can see the little couple of tabs or menus down the right-hand side there. So this is the transcript part that has been selected.
And just remember, edit permissions, if you add this recording to a team, then everyone in the team is going to have edit permissions.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
So just whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll let you decide, I guess. But just know that everyone in the team will be able to, edit these transcriptions.
Very true. So that is rolling out. Targeted release, early March, completed end of March. Standard release, early April, complete end of April. And Daniel, let's start talking about Bing.
Update. Yeah, update to the conversations vertical in Microsoft Search in Bing, MC312491. So we have this concept of surfacing your work content in search in Bing. And we've talked about this a few times on the show. This message is about bringing those email conversations into those Teams conversations and email together in this conversations kind of vertical in the work results in Bing. So it'll be Yammer is there. It's going to be the conversations in Yammer will be separate, but your team's conversations and your email will be as part of that conversations vertical within the search results. So this will begin rolling out mid-January, so in about a week or so, and the expectation is to be completed by mid-March. So within your organization, there could be some people who see the results, see this change before others. I like this. This is kind of that working. What this Bing search results are is kind of working, finding where you are. So you're doing a search in Bing to try to find something and presenting you with your organization's information so that, hey, you're searching for this and here's your organization results for this. Maybe that's what you're looking for or could help in your search. So what I would like to know, Darrell, is from the audience and from those that are listening live and from, the recording on audio as well. I'd like to hear from you on what your usage is for this. Is your organization using this, surfacing results in Bing? Are you using it? If you don't use Bing, then you're not. But what your experience is. Because my experience with it is, for me, it's not really something that I find very useful in the results because it's not front and center for me. It's something I have to click on to see the work results. I'd like to hear from the audience. How do you use this? Do you use it? What do you find useful? What are the things that you would like to improve? Hit us up on socials, 365 MCS on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. Just say socials, right? I'd like to hear from you on this to understand are you going to find use in this in finding your team's conversations, your Outlook conversations, your conversations in Yammer? What is your view on this? But Darrell, any thoughts on this?
I'm with you on it usually is presenting results when you're searching for something else. If I'm searching for a conversation, I'll usually go to the tool where I remember I had that conversation. I'll also start using the new search pages on the office.com page if I'm looking for content. So I find those filters to be quite useful. But yeah, this is more about serendipitous. Hey, you said this word. Were you perhaps looking for some conversation around this as well? So yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
I 100% agree. So let's leave that. Please provide us some feedback. I'd like to hear and have some conversations on the socials with you about that. Or here on YouTube or LinkedIn. But let's switch and go over to Microsoft Lists.
Yeah, board view. Now, if you're an organization or an individual that uses Microsoft Lists, they're introducing this new board view, MC312481. Now, Daniel, I often think of lists as a bit like the app that brings together all your lists across the different sites, teams, places that you collaborate with. It's all under that one app, a bit like all your Word documents come together under that Word Online starting place for office.com.
Sure.
So that's cool. When we look at this, your lists, you may be using a list to list off tasks, due dates, various different details around that. This begins to look a bit like Planner with this board view. You've got, like you said, swim lanes to drag your cards around. And so the list information, you can go within your list and say, I want this to appear on the card for all cards. And I want to be able to drag them through these different swim lanes. Daniel, how do you feel this compares to Planner? When would you use Microsoft Lists in the board view versus Planner?
Yeah, and it's not, that's the example it's showing here, the task, and you can kind of those swim lanes or those groupings. It's not it's not the only way you could use this. Obviously,
True.
there's other applications, but since they brought it up, the I think it's getting to that similar planner kind of feel. Planner though, I think you're able to assign task in Planner and it handles it automatically, right?
Yeah.
Sending notifications and that kind of thing. But lists are more extensible, right? I can go into a list and add whatever column I want to capture whatever content I want. Maybe some automation that I would create in Power Automate, maybe it'd be different than what we could do with Planner. But I think Planner is a little more positioned to handle, that pure tasks type of, working on projects and such.
Yeah.
Than lists would be. But then again, like I said, it's more extensible in as a list. I don't see it as a replacement, and I don't really, until Planner, I think, has the ability to create plans no matter where you want it to be. Like, what if you could create a plan in OneDrive, just like you could create a Microsoft list in OneDrive, right? That's where the storage is. Then that would be cool. So it's not tied to a group, a 365 group. Then maybe you would use lists to do some tracking of something, kind of small, that wouldn't require that.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that task tracking thing, I take your point too that these swim lanes or groups of cards could signify something else. It could be a product that you're working on, or something else that could be grouped.
It could be clients. It could be products grouped by whatever grouping, and it's any choice or Boolean column in the list could be used as that swim lane, as the organization grouping. So there could be a lot of location. There's a lot of ways you could group this and track content. So we were talking about Planner just because that's the example that's used in this message.
Yeah.
But you most certainly it could be used for a lot of things.
Yeah. Note too that it'll work within, where are we? Feature will roll out to desktop and web. We're wondering if it will also be available in lists on mobile. Maybe they dropped that off and missed that out as part of the announcement, or maybe that's truly a limitation. But this will be rolling out mid-January, soon-ish. Expect to be complete early February. Okay. Daniel, I know you often want to mute me during shows.
Correct. Yes.
Would you want to do something with notifications?
Yes. Mute notifications during meetings, MC312489. And this is, you probably know this if you've been in Teams meetings at all, that currently you receive notifications when you're in meetings. And frankly, it can be distracting. And especially if you have sound turned on and speakers, then people can hear your notifications sometimes, right? So what this is rolling out, and this is rolling out starting in early February, mid-March completion. This is going to give you the capability of globally in your environment to be able to turn off notifications during meetings. So when you go to settings, you can say, I want to mute notifications during meetings. And there's a little option there for you to do that. You will also be able to do this per meeting. So turn it off all the time, or you can also do it during meetings in the U-bar, which U-bar. Anyway, in the
U-bar.
U-bar.
Very personalized. It's all about you in this bar.
Right. It feels like a place where you're going to get, you walk up and say, excuse me, sir, can I have some I don't know.
And the U-bar tender said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
We're going wrong.
We don't have time for that. But you'll be able to, say, I want to not allow notifications while I'm in this meeting, which is probably, I might go that route just because, most of the time, just because sometimes notifications are important. Maybe you're in a meeting and you're just a notification person as part of this meeting, meaning I just need to hear what's going on. I don't have any input. Maybe I'm just, I'm not leading it. I don't have much input. I just need to listen. But what if somebody in my team needs to, prompt me? Then maybe I don't want to have notifications, turned off during that time. That'll probably kill my focus numbers in in my Viva, but whatever. And again on this one, I'd like to hear your thoughts, ladies and gents, and all of our listeners. Please, I'd like to hear how you feel about this and how you might use this setting.
I'm turning it on globally. Yep.
Okay.
If people want to get hold of me, because it's urgent, they'll find other ways. Yep.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the My Feed, Darrell.
Haha. Yes.
Please.
My Feed. New content scenarios for the My Feed web part on SharePoint MC311846. And Daniel said to me, "Oh, this is the thing that we usually put within that massive vertical column that goes down the side of a page, and it personalizes your intranet by showing you stuff about you." We went from you bar to My Feed. But this is going to get a few more toasty little things to say, "Oh, hey, this is you, and you're on your intranet page, but you might want to know about this." Suggested tasks, which, yes, I think Daniel said too, was something we do see within Outlook. You said something in this email that looks like you're committing to a date or a task or something. Do you want to turn this into a task? Well, you'll see those kinds of suggestions in the My Feed web part. There's people highlights. And this is an interesting one, Daniel, that it's going to show birthdays, work anniversaries, changes of roles. Interesting. Where is that information coming from?
Yeah, and it's in LinkedIn, which historically, when people are building out intranets, they try to grab that information from SharePoint or from Active Directory, right?
Yep.
Which is fed by the HR system, which is controlled by the company, right? So now we're kind of switching that to say, well, that information the user can provide by themselves in LinkedIn, and meaning they are telling people they're connected with, hey, this is what's happening. So, yeah.
Like, so you've got a promotion within your organization, so you've got a new role, and you may update that on LinkedIn. It'll come through. There's probably going to be a need to coordinate that in terms of what you want to present to people. An algorithm behind it that will probably find, oh, you're connected to this person and you're a direct report, or you interact with this person. You might be interested to know that they're having a birthday or work anniversary. There's also that question of opting in. So at the moment, it's I want to connect myself and my LinkedIn profile into work, and it'll grab just some of those core details that are available publicly. But maybe that space is changing to make sure that it is going to be populating information. We'll need to sort of look a bit deeper for some of those details. The last one there is meetings out of routine. So meetings scheduled on Teams or Outlook that are outside of your usual work hours allows users to either request or reschedule. Do you think this is something you'll see in your My Feed and go, someone booked a meeting for me at 6 a.m. and I don't usually work then, so I'm going to respond to that based on what I've seen visiting the intranet before 6 a.m.?
Yeah, or maybe it's the 6 p.m. ones,
Oh, right. Yep.
But that one's kind of odd, and I think that will be interesting to see how that plays out. How does the machine learning and all that, how does this all kind of work out? I really don't know.
We're going to see that in our Outlook calendar before we see it on an intranet page.
I would agree.
Yeah. Or potentially,
hopefully,
and usually that 15-minute reminder, if you've got a meeting soon. What meeting? I didn't have a meeting. Oh, okay. I'm not finishing at 5:30, 6 p.m. today. It's a bit longer.
Yeah.
Rolling out beginning mid-January. Oh, look, I didn't even go down and have a look at some of the previews. Let's have a look at Charlotte Watson. Hey, Charlotte is finishing work as a design critic. Add to do. Okay, so that's the task thingo. Birthday. Okay. Wonder if those balloons are color coded to her picture. Nice job branding. Or meeting outside of hours. There we go. Completed late January 2022. Enjoy seeing those details within your My Feed web part. We've got connected templates, Daniel.
Hey, I've got the shortest title of a message this week, Connected Templates, MC312070. And this is actually bringing together the concepts that already exist, which is you're able to have a template for Microsoft Team. So when you want to create a team, you can pick a template and it creates that team the way it's defined in the template, as well as SharePoint templates. Same thing, same concept, creating a SharePoint site. This is going to allow for, with this integration, Teams administrators can create templates that include SharePoint components, bringing that those capabilities together and from Teams and SharePoint templates. This is rolling out mid-January, expected to roll out early February. We're saying mid-January a lot. It's going to be interesting if some of these actually happen.
It's only a few days ago,
Yeah. So really want to focus in on this message in the kind of that bullet point toward the end where it's talking about, for example, when you go to create a team and you pick a template, then the channels and apps will be automatically channels. So we're going to have that capability of creating multiple channels and apps, and the connected SharePoint template components will be created so that those pages you create as part of the SharePoint template, the lists, any kind of integration with the Power Platform will be created and then pinned as tabs in those channels for you. So this is really that overall, I want to create this team with all the components it needs, from Teams and SharePoint, and bring it and surface it, because why are you creating it without surfacing it through Teams? That's the concept. So we're going to be able to do all of that with these connected templates.
Daniel, is one that I think should be part of every team you create. I mean, we get invited to a lot of teams that don't have any content or any kind of explanation. Wouldn't it be great to see part of a template where there is an About tab pinned to the general channel and it links through to a SharePoint page with a bit of guidance around, do you want to tell people something about this team, what their purpose is for, what are the general, rules and of engagement, etc. That'd be a good use to be part of that template.
100%.
Nice. All right. Couple more messages to go. We've got Viva enabling a delay delivery plan in Outlook. This is the longest message. So we've gone from the shortest to the longest. Start it again. Microsoft Viva enabling delay delivery plan in Outlook to Microsoft Viva Insights licensed view users preview. MC 309912. Let's try and shorten that. If you're a licensed Microsoft Viva user, then Insights user, then
My Analytics licensed user. Which means you have a E5 or that comparable license.
Yep. Well, I mean that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, this licensing thing for Insights is not so easy, right? Because there's the other insights where you've got manager insights, organizational level insights. You're right. My Insights. If you're licensed, you'll have a plan now, much like the focus plan where you can get it to schedule focus time for you in your calendar. There'll be a plan you can activate so that it uses some AI that as you are scheduling a meeting with someone, or you're sending a message, into that person's calendar, finds what their working hours are, and then suggests, do you want to delay the send of that? This colleague of yours, they're in the UK, you're in New Zealand, so they're 12 hours difference. They're probably going to be heading to bed right now. Put a delay on that message. So it'll make that suggestion. I don't really see much here, Daniel, in terms of that interaction, how it actually works. Perhaps
No, yeah,
we
it doesn't
could
have
have gone through.
a lot of detail there, but yeah, think about this as you're working. You have maybe you have colleagues in a different country, or maybe in the U.S. you work on the Eastern time zone, and there are people on the West coast. So I work in an organization now with people in different time zones, and you're sending a message. It's going to prompt you. It's going to be a kind of a brief prompt to say, hey, do you want to delay sending this?
There it is.
To when it's so you
Podcast
can delay
listeners?
send. Yeah.
There it is. It's those
yeah.
little kind of prompts that you get if someone is out of
Out
their
of office.
or they've got a something else set on their mailbox. Delay send or dismiss this message.
So it's just a, hey, do you want to use a functionality that's already there, which is delay send, but it's going to prompt you, hey, maybe you want to do that.
Interesting too that with this message, there's 4 people in the recipients field. It's saying, consider sending this email at this time. So it's suggesting time for you when more of the recipients are within their working hours. So it's treating the whole group and saying, think about that before you send this, and you can then action a delay send. So that's a good feature. If you're licensed for My Analytics, the full service plan, it is going to be available. Let's just fix the screen up over here. This is going to be rolling out in early February, expect to be complete mid-February for public preview, and then standard release will be mid-February to late February. Hey, hang on. Why bother with a public preview that only is 2 weeks ahead of a standard release? I don't know. Next message.
Automatically detect music. MC309911. This is Teams saying, when you're in a meeting, hey, I detect music. It's probably being suppressed. Do you want to turn on high fidelity mode so that people in the meeting can actually hear the music? This is, I think, a great functionality for things like when you're trying to play music as part of a presentation, when maybe you're having a happy hour with your colleagues and you're playing music in the background, just enjoying yourself. I mean, there's many ways. Education space. There's many ways we can think about this, how this might be used. No, it's not all the time, but there's sometimes when you want the music to be heard. So standard release rolling out late January through mid-February GCC, mid-February through late February GCC high, early March to early April, and DoD late March to late April. And this is going to be rolling out tenant level. So it's just going to prompt you and say, hey, do you want to turn it on or not? You don't have to. Maybe you're jamming during a meeting and you don't want everybody to hear the music. You don't have to enable it. That'd be awesome.
You're jamming. Look, we have a callback, but it's a different kind of callback. It's not really something that we can show you, but it is certainly a good one to just draw your attention to. Remember back in July when we had a message that talked about auto expiration of Teams meeting recordings. This was MC 274188, and it was about freeing up some space in your SharePoint sites and OneDrives from the Teams recordings. That the auto expire feature would auto expire them automatically after 60 days. And if you're an owner of that recording, you'd get a little hint of what that is. And as an owner of the recording, you would also be able to change this and it would override your organizational setting. Well, this, I know like it was last updated November 11th, but it's still good to point out that this is taking action now. If you haven't put the setting in place as as a administrator, maybe you wanted to turn it off and give people more control over this. Or maybe you haven't got ahead of this feature and you haven't let people know that your messages will start to pop up and say your recordings are going to be deleted. Then you can turn this thing off and get your comms out, or just turn it off in general. So yeah, a very short callback, but it's happening now. You might see a post as well in the tech community that goes into a bit more detail about what this is all about. But yeah, that is it, Daniel. That's the first week of 2022, our first episode.
Yeah. First episode of 2022. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, that joined live. Thank you for listening to the recording. And please give us feedback. Those several messages there, we said, hey, give us some feedback. We'd really like to engage with you on socials and in the comments and reactions on YouTube and LinkedIn. So we'd love to hear from you. We sincerely would love to. So please do.
All right. Well, we'll see you again in the next episode. Until then, bye for now.